Hey everyone, it's Phil here, and let's talk job versus business. I mean, you know my story. I had a job when I first started. I was working for my dad's residential carpet cleaning company. Real hard work, something that, I'll never forget. He still does it till this day. And, it's a draining job. The worst part about it is, probably ripping up old carpet that's been there for 40, 50 years with, dog piss, cat piss all over it. It's just super nasty. And then on top of it, moving furniture back and forth, really has a toll on your body. So it's a tough job. And, I have a pretty good comparison of having a job that you don't like versus a business. So if you do love your job, there's nothing wrong with it. Go ahead and continue having that job. If you hate it, either get a better job that you love or start a business. But anyways, coming from me, here are the two different opportunities you could go after and the differences and why I would never choose a job over, a business. So the first part is freedom. You cannot get freedom like you can from business if you structure it properly, if you grow to a certain point where it could really run without you and you just build your life and business from the point of freedom, right? Because yes, business can always be taken away from you. That is why once you get to a certain point in business, you have to always keep on pushing, keep on going, but you're no longer doing it from a point of fear, no money, stress. And now you're doing it from a point of just having freedom and continue to build. That's where a lot of people, go wrong. They start to coast. They start to enjoy life too much and they just, forget about business. But once you fall in love with business, you fall in love with your company, maybe your other things that you're trying to build, it gets easier. It's literally like doing something that you enjoy for the rest of your life. And business can be that opportunity and you will go ahead and gain freedom from that. Now, can you get freedom from a job? I mean, you can, but you will never get it to that same extent. There are, of course, jobs out there that are amazing. They literally don't care. They will pay you 500K or more per year, even if you work 2 hours per month. Yes, they are there. All these people look at the business owners, the actual, companies as, hey, can you bring me that much value? Where you're worth $500,000 per year? And the answer is yes. If some employee brings you, $2 million worth of value for the year or 50, they'll happily pay them 500K or more. And you may have all the freedom in the world. And in that comparison, you may have more than a business owner at a smaller level. However, those jobs are really, really rare. They're really hard to find. They are out there, but it's super hard to get them. So almost always business will go ahead and give you more freedom. That's why I started. That's literally by a wide margin why most people start businesses. And that is literally, like I said, the reason why I started. I wanted that freedom. I wanted to be able to say, hey, I don't have to do this right now if I don't want to. If I want to spend time with my family, my kid, that I knew I was going to have in the future, I can go ahead and do that without asking for permission. This is literally why I would take a business over a job any day. This single reason. Of course, there's more, but that is by far the biggest one. Number two is going to be control. Over a job, you never really have control. You can, fight your way to the top and you can still be let go. The company might go bankrupt. Yes, you can argue that a business can go bankrupt too. You will lose everything, but you have much more control with the business than you will ever have with the job. They might just let you go for whatever reason. Maybe it won't even go bankrupt. You love, let's say, going to working remote. All of a sudden, the owner, the management changes, or they just say, hey, you're coming to the office. You have to go to the office or you have to quit. So, that is something that is also a big deal that kind of goes hand in hand with freedom, but it is a little bit of an extra point. We're going to make it a separate point. So control is a big one. Number three, the actual asset. So if you're growing a business, a lot of people forget that they're growing a huge asset. The bigger the business and in the right industries, the more you could sell it for. For example, in the service industry, a business that's producing, let's say, $250,000 per year could be sold for about $1 million in profit. Of course, you still have to pay tax on that 1 million, but that is quite a bit of money. Most jobs you will never get that, right? You can still, have a stake at a public company or another person's company out there. However, most people do not make a lot of money from that. It's very tiny. There's, just like the earlier example, you may have a great job. There still may be a good company that you might still benefit from and earn quite a bit of a stake, but that's again rare. With the business, you have the control and the outcome is, literally can be based on how much you work, your execution, and all of that good stuff. So you can make a lot more with that asset down the line. Number 4, usually your income has a ceiling from a job, right? And from a business, you can literally work just as much and the ceiling can just keep on growing and growing. It's a huge one for those that, want more money. I mean, that is definitely a huge favor for business versus a job.